One of the main dilemmas of first time producers or someone just getting their gear together is choosing the controller. So for today's post, we're gonna be talking about keyboard controllers. Should I get a mini key controller or a regular sized keyboard controller? So there are some factors to consider here. So number one, of course, is budget. Uh, do I have enough money for a huge keyboard, or is my budget limited that I can only afford a smaller mobile mini key rig? Okay, that's one. Or second is the space. How much space do I have in my desk, in my studio, or on my desk? Do I have enough space for a 49 key regular controller, or is my space a bit cramped that I can only accommodate a mini keyboard? So that's another consideration. Another is, um, of course, your skill. Are you a keyboard player originally, or are you a bit familiar with playing the keyboards that you were taught through piano lessons or any lessons before that required you to use a regular sized keyboard? So that's another thing to consider, since if you're used to that, then your whole being, your muscle memory would be familiar with the regular sized keyboard, which would be more beneficial for you as it's more familiar to you, versus being knowledgeable about playing on a regular sized keyboard and then jumping into mini keys, which will of course have some kind of major adjustments regarding the size and the travel of the keys on the height. That's also another consideration. And then lastly, additional features, because some of the newer keyboard controllers have additional features like a sequencer, arpeggiator, um, chord memory, stuff like that. But those are, I think, those additional features are more something more that you should put into consideration a bit after you're familiar already with what you want to get between the two, because at the end of the day you'll be using the keyboard more than additional features, well, depending on your workflow, of course. But the important thing is, find something first that you'd be happy to use. Would it be a large sized keyboard or a mini key keyboard? Now, in my case, on my desk, I have enough space, so I'm able to put on a regular sized keyboard, which I use. But honestly, since I'm really not a keyboard player, to be honest, I could actually do away with a regular sized keyboard and just work with a mini key type of keyboard, because there's another consideration later on regarding the number of keys. So are you getting a 25 key keyboard? If for that's useful for for more portable purposes, and like if you're really not a keyboard player, that's really useful for you, um, because you're just working with a few keys, and since you're really not a keyboard player, it's just enough to get around programming your drums, programming some synth lines. But as you go up, like you can go up to the next 37 key, which is for me a bit okay already. And then you can go next to 49 and then 61. So those who get 61 and 88, those are more keyboard players uh, at heart. Like they're really used to playing lots of keys and they need the room to perform. But for us guys who aren't really keyboard players, using a 37 or a 49 would be more than enough to cover for your needs. Now, as I said earlier, if mobility is also a concern, then you can go for a 25 key keyboard. So that's it for now. Hope you picked up something when you're regarding choosing your first keyboard controller. So Silver Filter out.